Welcome to the Magdalene Codes. I'm your host, Valeria Maritinini, and special guest today is Marcus Robbins. He is one that calls himself a Lyran. He believes that he is connected to the Christos codes of the Council. This is a being who's experienced much in a very little time. He is a young body, but a very, very old soul. Please enjoy this interview with an open mind. Welcome, everyone. I am so excited to have this meeting with I feel like a good friend of mine, because we don't really know each other in person, but on a soul level, we resonate so much. So I want to introduce Marcus Robbins. He also goes by Pharaoh Marcus Robbins. Well, Marcus, can you tell me a little bit about yourself and what you are resonating with these days?
Yeah, absolutely. And first of all, I just want to thank you and give my gratitude for holding the space and allowing me the opportunity to share my experiences and wisdom and knowledge as well.
Pleasure.
So a little bit about myself. I'm a certified Reiki practitioner and a crystal healer as well. I have my own meditations that I guide that I posted on YouTube. And it's very common for me to attract people that need intuitive guidance through their emotions, um, relationships, and their overall health. So I help a lot of people with guiding to their best inner self, not me trying to make them be what I want them to be, but what they are to be as their true self.
Yes. And
Uh,
that's what's happening now. Like, I think this is a movement that's happening because people like you and people like myself are starting to notice that that there is a not just a movement in regards to let's become a better person, but let's find the true self.
yes, absolutely. I definitely agree. And it's really accelerated within this last year, that's for sure. A
Yeah.
huge acceleration. And um, with everything that's going on right now, I mean, there's so many ways that you can see it and view it as. And one way that I see it is that this is like um, this is like God, universe, source, um, showing us an opportunity to really look into a big mirror and look at ourselves and see where our hearts are and see if we are staying true to ourselves, if we are staying true to our hearts and love, unconditional love. And there's a lot of figures that are playing roles right now that are really carrying out a lot of triggering and mirroring for us to really take a look at ourselves, if we allow ourselves that kind of space. And with everything going on, we can really see in our hearts, if we are living by love or if we're living by fear.
Yes. And so let me ask you something. You feel like we're moving towards a movement of love. And what does that mean to you? Because a lot of people think love is, this box of chocolates and,
Yeah.
and candy. But what is it? What is love for you?
Oh man, love to me. Well, first of all, there is no bounds to it and there's no limitations to love. It's unconditional. For example, say someone around you or someone you care about is struggling with their emotions and they have an experience that triggers those emotions and then they project those emotions onto you. Now, love to me is being able to have the open heart and mind to have compassion and try to understand why that person is projecting these emotions instead of taking it personal that they are projecting the emotions, making it about yourself, and basically creating further damage to their emotions while they're in a vulnerable state, instead of being open, listening, and trying to understand, which can help heal their emotions.
Mhm.
To me, that's an example of love, unconditional
Absolutely.
love. Not judging them, but staying open and trying to understand to further the connection.
Absolutely. I completely resonate with that. And I feel, because you're an empath, I feel it,
Yeah,
that we're starting to move towards that in a way that has never been done before. I think there's a lot of talk about it, but what I feel as an empath, and I'm sure you resonate with this, I can actually feel the person's heart aching, or I can feel, their angst. I can feel it in my own body. So then I feel the oneness, and so it's like, how could I judge? How can I, crucify? How could I make them wrong for what they're feeling? And so that oneness does play a huge factor, I think. And I think we are moving towards that, but we're not completely there yet.
yeah, definitely. It's definitely a process, and we have a lot of that icky gunk and gooey darkness that needs to continue surfacing to be released from our hearts, so we can get to that pure state, that Christ consciousness state in our hearts.
Yes. So tell me a little bit about your story, and how you got to this place of this level of consciousness.
Absolutely, I'd love to. Um, so uh, the beginning stages of my awakening took place back in 2015, and this was shortly after I got out of high school, graduated in 2013, and I kind of just started venturing off into um, different substances,
Right.
and I started experimenting and experiencing um, LSD, mushrooms, um, weed, of course, which I was doing in high school prior to that, um, as well as ecstasy as well. Um, so what really launched me into my awakening was an LSD trip that I took. And it unlocked my brain in ways that I had never even thought possible. Because there's this like really bad stigma from some people about LSD and mushrooms and stuff like that. They tell people that they should be afraid of it, that it's going to make you go crazy. You're going to start seeing things, and you're going to be um, this and that, and just a bunch of other crazy things.
Right.
But
It
this is
can
really,
be it can be dangerous if it's abused.
yes, that's a thing I'll definitely get to in my story. Um, but it's just really weird. It's kind of reverse almost, that they'll in an instant be like, yeah, go ahead and take a Xanax, like.
Right. That's okay. There's no dangers in that, but yeah.
But so yeah, LSD was what really launched me into that space of my higher self, and being able to vibrate at a higher level and be able to experience and receive information at that level.
Okay. So what happened?
So the first time I took it, it was really interesting. You have the come up. The come up is like, the first 30 minutes of waiting for it to actually set in. And the come up is, from what I've tuned into, it is basically because LSD is like a crystal. It's a crystal vibration, so it's very high vibration.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're consuming that, it brings your vibration into its vibration, so you experience its level.
Okay, I never knew that. I don't know much about LSD besides, tripping.
Yeah, it actually comes from a root, the ergot root. So
Okay.
it's a fungus like mushroom as well,
Okay.
and they'll extract it in the lab and stuff like that.
I see. So it does come from the mushroom family.
Yes.
I see.
Hmm.
Okay. And
Uh,
then it's tweaked in the lab.
yeah. So the first initial 30 minutes is the come up, as we call it, and it's basically your body, your mind, your whole being adjusting to that frequency. So there can be like anxiety type of feeling,
Yeah.
because your nerves and your cells and everything are trying to keep up with that vibration, and then
Right.
once it settles, and then it's what they call the peak. It's where you peak into the high potential of it, and then you're there, and then you're in that for a few hours. So um, what I've experienced through that is my third eye opening big time, and with that I've seen hieroglyphic images.
Mm.
I've seen my past lives. When I've looked in the mirror and looked into my eyes, I've seen myself shift into the different faces and different characteristics. Like there was one example where I saw myself as a Native American Navajo shaman, and like I saw the feather and everything. It was just like a it was like a um, metaphysical layer,
Right.
and you just see it over the physical.
Right.
Um, so other things is your clairvoyance, your clairsentience,
Right.
all of your
All
abilities
those
are enhanced.
layers.
Yeah, all of your abilities are enhanced big time.
Uh-huh.
Everything becomes uh, more sharp, so to say, like more HD vision. And some things I've also experienced is seeing things in the vibration field instead of as solid.
Mm.
Like I can see that everything is indefinite. I can see that it's moving and vibrating.
Mm-hmm.
And I've also been able to see different layers of dimensions as well.
Mm. It sounds amazing. I've experienced something similar. I've taken a boga. Are you familiar with the boga? It's
Uh,
an African root. It's a tree bark, and you take a journey with it as well with the shaman. And it's kind of I think it's the brother of ayahuasca,
okay.
right? So ayahuasca is like the mother, and iboga is the father, but it's very similar in that
Wow.
way. But yes, so I can relate. It's So do you feel? Did you feel like after that journey, like you were a different person?
Oh yes, yes, that's for sure. So that's another thing about it. It's almost like a reset in a way.
Hmm. So how
And
did it change you?
um, man, it
I know it's a loaded question.
it's hard to explain really. Um, so a big thing for me is like once I experience something, I'm then able to expand and grow with that.
Hmm.
And like I know what I know when I experience something.
Right.
So uh, traveling into those energies with it and experiencing what I do, I'm able to bring that back into my lower self and have a more expanded awareness, but it also brings more inner peace to me because I'm able to connect with my higher self more. Um,
Yes.
and I feel like the more we're connected with our higher self, the more we have inner peace because we know who we are.
Absolutely.
Um, And then another thing is that it's helped me manifest more as well due to being in that open and unlocked state. And I've also been able to travel through timelines on it as well, while still being present in my physical body.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm able to kind of, pick up on insight on potential timelines and also clear past energies as well while I'm on it.
Mm.
Um, so I mean, afterwards, it just really opened me up and helped bring more inner peace, clarity,
Mm-hmm.
and clearing to my energy. It does have a detoxification effect as well on our energy fields. It
Mm.
helps clear it out, crystallize it.
So, did you experience any side effects besides the detox?
So really the only side effects that I really have afterwards is um, just the brain being a little bit depleted
Mm-hmm.
because you're releasing like your dopamine and serotonin and stuff like that at pretty high levels. So that's like the only side effect really, is that you're just a little drained and tired because of all the chemical releasing. But um, good rest afterwards, and then proper nutrition and water, you'll be
Mm.
perfectly fine right after.
So now you are very much into proper nutrition and living a pure life. That's
Yeah.
what I call it. Um, so why don't we get into that a little bit?
Okay. So yeah, all this stuff just kind of like started happening in the same time frame, really. So um, I met a good friend of mine named John back in that 2015 period when I started experimenting with the psychedelics, and he was already a Reiki practitioner. He knew yoga masters and all these other things. So I I gra- gravitated towards him naturally as I started awakening, and we started hanging out very often. And through him, I was able to start learning Reiki, and I started practicing Reiki with him. I also started meditating, and um, man, it's so funny like looking back at it, like the beginning stages of meditation. I'm sitting there on YouTube looking up
Yeah.
meditation for beginners, and I'm just like, I don't even know how to meditate and
Right.
all these other things. And it's just so wild because like now it's like I've like mastered my own self with meditation, and I'm just about capable of doing anything through it. But
It happened very fast for you, considering it was 2015.
yeah, 2015 I was like 19, 20.
Right. But everything that happens, it's not that much time that has passed,
Yeah,
but everything's accelerated now.
quantum
Everything.
quantum level.
Absolutely. It happened to me as well. I had the Kundalini awakening and blast off.
Yeah, I think a big part too, and why everything's so rapid for me, um, is because of how often I'm doing like my practices, like
Right.
meditating every morning and stuff, not
Yeah.
like every so often or like once a
Right.
week or something.
Yeah.
I feel like it just adds up after a while. It's like a snowball effect, and
Mm.
then next thing you know, there's just like this huge breakthrough.
Absolutely. And your vibration is constantly being leveled up, leveled up. And of course the experiences that come through the meditation as well.
Yeah.
So, you're shifting your brain frequencies.
Yep. And I mean, it all starts within, and then we project it out.
That's right.
Um, so yeah, I started hanging out with John, and started learning Reiki, meditation, yoga. So I started picking up on these, and I started practicing them for myself, and it just became very natural, and it felt like the thing to do. So I started investing my time in myself and started doing these things and just looking into different ways to grow with it. Um, I didn't even really know about chakras or anything until I started hanging out with him. And then um, chakras is like one of my favorite things to focus on now. So also what came with being around him was we started journeying into being vegetarian, and then from vegetarian to vegan. And it really helped in the beginning to have somebody else that was already willing to do these things or already had experience. So definitely provide like an extra boost and motivation to do it.
Absolutely. It does, like, people don't realize, like, the support system is really important. To go through by yourself is a little tougher.
Yeah, absolutely. So just from there, just progressively, I just started attracting more and more people, beings, and experiences that just continued to expand my mind and give me more awareness of myself. And when I say myself, I mean like myself that is connected with all. And um, yeah, just I started exploring the astral more, meditation. I started having lucid dreams. I started having visions where Star Family was coming to see me. Um,
So yeah,
so,
so who was visiting? Was it the Lyrans?
um, so in the beginning, I was never really sure about who was visiting.
Right.
Like I knew that there was like the archangels and stuff around, but I can't recall a couple experiences with John though, where there was one time where we were in my backyard. We were sitting out in my backyard, and we were on LSD. So we were sitting back there, and due to the state of awareness that we're in, we were able to connect with the stars, and we were interacting with the stars. So a little bit farther off from my backyard, there's this open land, and there was this one star that was sitting above the land, and it was pretty bright too. It was one of the brighter ones, and it just started slowly uh, gravitating downwards towards the earth, the land.
And you were seeing this simultaneously with John?
Yes, we were full blown both seeing this, 100%.
Amazing.
So it goes all the way down and it just like disappears.
Yeah.
And then, like maybe a minute or so later, the being had made its way over to the backyard. And I hear this noise hit my neighbor's fence. It was like, something climbing over the fence.
Right.
So this being was getting closer to us, and we were fully aware of this.
What did you guys do?
It was a dense presence. It was a dense energy. So we got up and we looked at each other. And we were just like, "Should we go inside?" So we're getting ready to go inside, and I had a blanket and I put it around my shoulders. And I turn around to walk inside, and it feels like something steps on the bottom of the blanket, and the blanket's pulled off of me.
What did you do?
So we go inside, and then we felt its presence inside with us.
So it wasn't in a physical form. It was in a light form.
Yes.
Yeah, they come often like that.
Yeah. So we basically just went into prayer and just started praying with Yeshua to clear this energy, to get it out of the space, because it was very dense. I'm pretty sure it was like a reptilian draconian being.
Oh. So what did this being want from you guys?
I'm not entirely sure,
Hmm.
but knowing our presence, our energy, and stuff, and who we are, it probably was trying to take our energy of some sort.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've had that experience, and then this is a good one here. You'll definitely like this. Back in 2016, 2016, I went over to my friends to get a Reiki session done, and in the middle of my Reiki session, in my third eye vision, um, this elder lion comes to my vision, and it just like telepathically was communicating with me. And what I had received was that was my higher self communicating with my lower self, reminding me of who I am. So that was the defining moment where I found out, or should I say I remembered,
Right.
that I was a Christo Lyran.
So let me ask you something. So you called Yeshua in to help you with that,
Yeah.
you know, that lower vibration being. So what is your relationship with Yeshua?
Oh, okay.
Another loaded question.
No, this is a really good one, and it's gonna be hard for a lot of people to believe, but those that align will believe and know. Um, so my relationship with Yeshua is that we are from the same soul council. We are both of the elders, the Lyran Christos. So what we do with that council is we kind of just like we switch out with each other on who incarnates during each period. So my connection with him is that we are basically like direct council soul brothers. And we have very similar missions when we incarnate here.
Yes.
Um,
And this is why you are connected to that crystal energy.
yes, absolutely. The last really big interaction I had with him was, I want to say, maybe a month and a half to 2 months ago. Um, I went into meditation to do some grid work. And if people don't know what grid work is basically going into what we could say is like the fourth dimension, the metaphysical earth. And we go into the grid, and we basically transfer and move energy to help clear and heal parts of the grid, which is connected to the 3D physical earth as well. So when things happen there, it trickles down into here.
That's right. It's kind of, I like to say it's kind of like the acupuncture
Yeah.
of, the metaphysical world.
Yeah. I love it. So yeah, the last time I had a pretty profound experience with him, I was in the grid work, and we ascended all the way up above the earth, like just out of the whole grid, and we were just over the whole earth. And I remember my whole body just like, not my whole physical body, but my astral body, it just like turned into fire. like, Father, creation, fire.
Yeah.
And then my physical body started shaking like a lot. And we then basically spread all of that creation, Father, fire over the whole earth. So then once we were done doing that.
When was that?
When was that?
Yeah.
It was about a month and a half to 2 months ago.
Do you remember the date or no?
I don't.
Okay.
The date thing has never really stuck with me.
That's fine. You're not glued to the matrix.
Yeah.
It's just for the audience.
It's experiences for me more than anything.
Absolutely.
So after we had done that,
right.
And I wasn't even aware that Yeshua was with me during that part. But after we got done with that, I felt his hands basically like come onto my shoulders. Mm-hmm. Just like
he does that often.
Yeah, just like that, like, it's okay. We're doing great, and you are loved, and you can rest now. Like, man, it was just so beautiful.
Yeah.
But the experience that gave me the answer that I was in basically brotherhood counsel with him was back in 2015 2015. I was meditating with Source in my room. And sometimes when I want to get answers, I'll just meditate and then try to still myself, and I'll ask the question, and then I will do what we call automatic writing or mediumship.
Mm-hmm. Right. It's just basically writing through channeling.
Yeah. So I still myself, I have my pen and paper, and I just hold my hand over the pad. And instead of, so like, how when we write, we're mentally like forcing our hand to write. Mm-hmm. So instead of like mentally forcing energy to my hand, I just stop trying to force anything and I'd be still. Then I ask the question and allow spirit or God, source, to move my hand to write for me.
Yes.
So I asked a question because I was stuck in a an in-between place with the whole Christianity and ancient Kemet information.
Mm-hmm.
So I needed answers because I'd always been in tune and carrying out and living, by ancient Egyptian ways, the Kemetic principles and universal principles. And then, so John was like, he was raised like very Christian and stuff.
Right.
So he was, kind of showing me that alleyway. And it really conflicted with me because there's just a lot of things that don't resonate in the way that modern Christianity is.
Right.
Compared to ancient Christianity before a lot of things happened.
Yeah, before it became a religion, basically.
Yeah, before it became a dogmatic structure.
Right.
So I was just really in this place in between because I was just so uncomfortable with basically being told that, my ancient ancestors and Kemetic principles and stuff were of fallen angels.
Who said that?
The same person I just mentioned.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's conditioning.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Mhm. So yeah, I just need answers so I could just let go of either one. And I sat in meditation. I just asked, like, what is Jesus' relation to me? Like, what is he truly? And what had come to me was that he's my brother, and he is not anything more or anything less than me. And that's what came from source to me and gave me clarification on that.
Mm. So, to explain what brother means to you.
Okay, so brother to me in that kind of way is um, just like a male version of a soul relative.
Right.
Like, to me, everybody is my brother and sister. Everybody.
Right. That's how I feel. And some of them are not awakened yet, and some of them are. And so you resonate more with those that are.
Yeah. And then some of them are acting like, the big bad evil brother.
Right. Right. It's part of, this whole reality that we're in.
Mhm. Yeah, so that was why I had experienced the answer to what he was to us all and myself. And then I had that Lyran experience during the Reiki session. And then after that, I was guided to researching about um, Yeshua and like what his soul lineage was. And as I researched about it and did meditation, I had learned that he is of the Christos Lyran elders.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when all those pieces from those experiences just came together for me, and I then realized and remembered that we were of the same council.
Mm-hmm. So explain to everyone that's watching, what does that mean, the council?
Oh, okay.
I know what it is, because but not everyone knows.
Yeah. Um, so the councils that I'm speaking of, um, to put it into a way for people to kind of be able to envision it and see in a way that they're used to, is uh, it's basically the same thing as an Earth Council, like the councils we have in offices and businesses and stuff like that. It's a council of people or beings that are coming together for a purpose or reason.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so the councils that I'm speaking of are councils that are not of the physical Earth. They're of other planets, star systems, even galaxies.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and a lot of them are not physical, they're metaphysical, and they are in different densities or vibration levels than this one that we are in here on Earth.
Right.
So the council that I'm speaking of is the Lyran Christo Council.
Right.
And um, compared to the Earth Council, so the Earth is like, 3D,
Yep.
3D moving through 4D,
Mm-hmm.
going to be in the 5D.
Right.
Um,
Still, people believe that we're in 5D, but we're still shifting. It has to be a collective thing.
yeah, so you got the individual and then you got the collective.
That's right.
A lot of us are individually already in like 5D and above.
Right. The Earth's ready, though. She's ready. She's
Yeah,
ready to be 5D. It's
yeah,
just that the collective isn't. And some of us do experience the 5D and
yep,
then dip back into the 3D,
yes, yep.
unfortunately.
Unfortunately. And um, so yeah, so Lyra and the Lyra Council is I can't remember exactly in this moment, but it's more of like 9D to 12D.
Okay. I didn't
And
know that about Lyra.
yeah, so that's where Lyrans descend from. We
Yeah,
descend from that vibration.
right.
And that is the energy signature that we carry while we're here. It's also really interesting because I've been diving a little bit deeper into, the galaxy and stuff. And it's told that there are beings like such as Lyrans, the Aurora beings, and some others that we actually came from another galaxy into this one.
Mm-hmm.
And that other galaxy is pretty much like the future compared to here
Mm-hmm.
because of its vibration level.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like some of us are like time travelers, and we come from what would be the future of now in this place to help basically bring in and usher in the new future Earth
Mm-hmm.
for the current Earth.
So a lot of people don't know what the Lyrans do. So how is it connected to the divine feminine, divine masculine energies? Because I think that's this audience is really like that's important to them.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Lyrans are one of the elder races, soul races in the galaxy. The Lyrans are mainly created to represent the divine masculine, the father, fire energy. Um, and then you got what would be, the yang or the opposite, which is the elder dragon energy. And then from those two different, the Lyrans being the divine masculine and the dragon energy being the divine feminine.
Which I believe is connected to Sirius.
Yeah. So Sirius is the central sun
Mm-hmm.
of this Earth sun.
Mm-hmm.
And then Sirius is one of the places that um, is like a center point for all sorts of beings and souls to go to.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, you'll find water mammal beings such as like the whales, dolphins. You'll find canine beings out there,
Yeah.
uh,
Child.
sirens. Yeah,
Bird.
a little bit of everything. Um, so that's where a lot of hybrids are too.
Yes.
So like you'll see like Syrian Lyrans, or you'll see Syrian Pleiadians,
That's right.
stuff like that.
And that's actually where a lot of these hybrid beings came from when here on Earth.
Yeah,
Like, for example, Ganesha, and um, we have all of the Hathor beings and Sekhmet,
yeah,
and these are all the beings that came down from Sirius.
yeah. Isis as well.
Isis, yes.
Yep, Isis.
Osiris,
Yep. Um,
Horus. He was a bird.
okay. This is interesting. Um, so Horus and Ra,
Mm.
Thoth,
Tall,
and uh, Sekhmet, and all of them, they actually came from Lyra
right.
and then navigated to Sirius.
So Sirius is one of the places where there's a lot of movement, a lot of navigation in the
Yeah,
galaxy.
it's one of the main places where beings who have basically nowhere to go because of such things like wars destroying their home planets,
Yes.
which happened to Lyra.
Yes.
Um, they go to Sirius because it's one of those like refuge places where they can go.
Absolutely. And actually, Earth was becoming that as well.
Yeah. So like it's like Lyra, Sirius, and then Earth.
Yes, yes.
And it's just
Because
like,
Earth is more dense.
yeah, so Sirius is just like, it's like a parent version of Earth. So yeah, going back into what the Lyrans represent, in this whole thing is basically the father energy and the fire and creation. Um, we also carry like the wisdom and knowledge of basically all history, everything due to being an elder. And we are kind of like, the watchers or like the grandparents over all the children to help make sure they're growing and creating a beautiful planet and everything is going according. Um, and then from there, there's different beings that are created representing the divine masculine still, but in different forms. And then it's the same with the dragon beings. Beings are created from that. And that's where you find like draconians, reptilians, and other beings.
So what has been your experience with this knowing, this new awareness? How has it benefited your life in any way? Because some people are like, so what? Who cares? Because I get that a lot with
Yeah.
my ancient background.
Mm-hmm.
And like, well, what about in this? What about in this realm? What are you doing with that in this realm?
Okay. So this has affected me in just tremendous ways. It's it's allowed me to become aware of what I can control about myself. And it's also helped me with being able to understand my purpose here, the way I function, and what resonates for me to be able to thrive and be my best. Um, it's it's given me that inner peace of knowing who I am. It's allowed me to be able to connect with others on a deeper level and be able to also express my true self for others to see that are afraid to express their true self because of the judgments that could come with it, or people thinking that you're crazy because you're talking about soul level stuff. Yeah, I mean that's just the major thing. It's just giving me a lot of self-awareness on my power, my energy, and my purpose more than anything.
So how are the Lyrans working with the divine feminine energy right now?
Oh, okay. So right now, ways that we are working to bring back that balance is we are bringing in and helping anchor truth, higher truth,
Yes.
along with that metaphysical cleansing fire that comes with it.
From the heart, doesn't it?
Yes. So like for example, Sekhmet, probably the biggest example of a Lyran energy is,
The energy. I've been to her statue. Can you imagine just her statue?
yeah, I remember that. I
Yeah.
saw it. Ah, man.
Yeah. Just the statue. Imagine in person. Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. It's amazing.
I
She's
got
the mother. She's divine mother.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Um, so yeah, she provides nurturing, healing, protection, strength,
Mm,
and um, guidance.
yes.
So that is also what other Lyrans like myself provide as well.
And so, what are you doing to bring truth?
What am I doing to bring truth? Well, um, I meditate to ground information and knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
and then I do a lot of the automatic writings. Um, it's really interesting too, is how we use technology. Lyrans are very savvy with technology due to being aware of just how all of life in the universe functions. So I very easily get guided and drawn to technology to do research, but it's like the research is divinely placed right there.
Mm,
And
yeah.
I just find the information that's
Yes.
needed.
Happens to me all the time. I literally
Yeah,
get glitches on my screen, and there's just the web page just shows up on its own. And I'm like, oh, okay, thank you.
yeah. It's so amazing.
It is. It is.
It's some of the best feelings I've ever felt when those things happen.
Yes.
It's very profound.
Oh, yes. You can feel like you're in a different realm.
Yeah, you get like the chills, you get that light feeling around you.
Oh, absolutely. You
Uh,
laughed. You want to laugh about it too.
yeah.
It's funny. Yeah.
Um, so what was the question again?
So what are you doing to bring truth here?
Okay.
What
Um,
kind of truths? Just give us an example.
what kind of truth? Um,
What's the truth right now?
the truth right now,
Yeah. Like something that's really strong in the field.
really strong. Um, all right, this is what comes up
Yeah.
most significantly right now is it begins within ourselves.
Yes.
Our experience and our reality for our individual self begins within ourselves, and we have to take care of our our different layers of ourself, our mind, our emotions, our body. Um, just we need to take care of ourselves, and we need to keep it clean and healthy.
Yes.
And the more that we keep ourselves clean and healthy, the more we're able to be a more clear channel
That's right.
to receive knowledge and information.
Mhm.
So those are some of the things that I do to be able to anchor and provide more information and knowledge and truth is eating a plant-based diet,
Yeah.
um, exercising
Yeah.
very often, every day if I can, if not every other day,
Right.
meditating, clearing my chakras and balancing them. Um, and I mean, we're gifted with this beautiful thing called YouTube, where we can literally just type in chakra balance meditations,
Right.
and thousands and thousands pop up from 5 minutes to an hour. um, and then another thing that I'm doing to provide knowledge and information for people is using my social media platforms as that, instead of using it as um, I don't know how to describe it, just using it as like purely entertainment or getting sucked into drama.
Right.
I use it as a platform for me to share my life story and share wisdom and knowledge, such as uh, just quotes and different things on wisdom about, um, ways to be healthy, or uh, different. See, sometimes I like to just post some things that make people think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do the same. But
Sometimes,
that's our role.
yeah, sometimes I don't even like fully know if something is right or not,
Mm-hmm.
but I'll post it
Yeah.
without the intention of knowing if I'm right or not. But I'll post it with the intention of just making people think about it and expand
Mm-hmm.
and go research for themselves.
Right. Just thinking outside of the box.
Yeah, because then one thing leads to another. Once someone sees something and then they hear something later on about it, and
Mm-hmm.
then next thing they're researching about it, or they just unlock something.
Right. And sometimes we don't find that it's true right now. And then later it happens to be true.
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
a great example is with everything that's going on with the coronavirus, we nobody knew, how where this virus came from, and then we found out that it was, people like you and me. We knew that it was coming from a lab, and then
Yeah.
but people are like, oh, that's ridiculous. Why would anyone do that? And now we know for sure that it's coming from a lab. So you know it's at first it's debunked, and then the truth comes out. So I think we should always keep an open mind to people that are pushing the envelope, in my feeling. Like, even sometimes I'm like, oh, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's way too far. But sometimes it ends up becoming true. So I think that it's good that you're pushing people to think on maybe in a different way, or to question what's really out there, or what's really being put out there, if it's really true or not. I
Mhm.
think that's a good thing. Yeah, some people might take offense that it's not true, um, or that maybe that you're posting conspiracies, and I'm
Never
sure
heard
you've
that
been
one before.
right. Yeah. So, well, I think it's a good thing to question everything. We shouldn't trust the media. We shouldn't trust
Lord.
a book just because there's you know because they say it's history. Well, how do I know that's really history? Right?
Yeah, okay, so that's the thing, like, and this is something that I have been thinking about recently, is how many of us will rely upon, not just rely upon, but also worship a external material item as our truth,
Right.
and as the whole entire truth of everything.
Mm. And that's deep conditioning, Marcus.
Yeah,
Deep,
big time.
deep conditioning from the Anunnaki all
Deepest.
the way back. This is deep
Yeah, that's
conditioning.
like it's like the deepest.
It is. And those of us that know that, it's almost like a miracle that we've broken through that awareness.
Mhm. Yeah, it really is a blessing.
So it has a lot to do with DNA, and you know cleansing that DNA, and that's why the pure frequency, purifying the body, purifying the mind and the heart is so important, because eventually you'll start to see the truth. And maybe you won't see the truth right away, but you'll start to question what's true or not. And
Yep.
then finally things will kind of open up for you.
Yeah, it's like it's another discussion I've been having, is that it's like this. It is an evolution. It's a soul evolution. We descend and ascend upon the ladder, as we call it, Jacob's ladder,
Right?
or the 33 vertebrae.
That's right.
Um, so we start off in the lowest energies, the darkest places, and in the darkest, densest places is you'll see more of ignorance, confusion, basically almost being cut off from truth and source. But we're never cut off from truth and source.
Mm.
We're always one. Now, from there, it's like you're shedding layers. You're shoveling up the dirt that has buried you, and then you're blooming and you're growing, and you're climbing up that ladder into more light as you're shedding the darkness.
Mm-hmm.
And as you're doing that, your vibration raises, your health increases,
Mm-hmm.
you start becoming in tune with truth and knowledge and pure light.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a ever changing evolution in every moment.
And things start happening. Your pineal gland opens. You start to hear things. You start to see things. Things
Frequencies
start
in your
happening.
ears.
Yeah, and then you meet people that resonate in the same with the same kind of information, and it's like all these little miracles are happening. I like to call them miracles because that's the conditioning that we know of. But it's magic, just constantly unfolding.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is it's really one of the probably the most important things right now that we should be doing. And it comes with drinking water, pure water, eating pure foods, whole foods,
Yes.
vegan at best, and all the things like really kind of seeing things from outside in rather than from inside out. Because when we're stuck in that box, then all we see is the box.
Yep.
Step outside for a minute and kind of look within and say, wait a minute, this might not be completely true, or this might not resonate with me. A great example, like when you had your awakening and your friend was conditioning you into the ideas of ancient Egypt, or the culture of ancient Egypt being dark. And that's not true. But that's his truth. That's his truth. Maybe there are parts of it that might be dark. Absolutely. There's a yin and a yang to everything. Even in Christianity, even in every religion, any ancient culture. But, like, for example, a reptilian race, there's a very beautiful, high vibrational beings that come with that reptilian race. But then there's also the dark side of the reptilian race. And so people will always want to look at things as very black and white, but it kind of look at that gray and see what's really there.
Yeah. And like you're saying, there's a yin and yang to everything. And then it's something that's really helped me let go of, like judgment and being so finite about what something is,
Yeah.
such as reptilians. Like, everything you hear and everything stereotyped about reptilians is negative, basically. Always negative. Like, people hear reptilians, they're like, oh God, reptilians.
Mm-hmm.
But no, like you're saying, like every species and all beings are whole, and there is light and dark to everything.
Yes. And this is what we're moving towards, is a lighter experience, a lighter reality, rather than a darker experience or heavier experience, or even just the fact that we need to suffer. This is something that doesn't need to happen, but that needs to happen so that we can have our lessons.
Yeah, it's we're gonna keep going.
A what?
Never mind. So yeah, it's just like it's something that comes with when we incarnate into these lower vibrations or dimensions, is we have to go through these certain experiences for us to be able to become more aware of ourselves and break through and shed the darkness to continue to ascend. Or if we don't have experiences, then we're just going to stay there.
Right. There's nowhere to move.
And this also applies to Gaia as well, Earth.
Mm-hmm.
That, you know, she's a newer planet compared to some of the other planets.
Yeah, even though it's billions years old, but in the way she's designed now, yes.
Yeah. So, you know, she's climbing up the ladder from the 3D, which is a very dense and dark dimension,
Mm-hmm.
up into 4 and 5,
Right.
which is going to be more light. It's not going to be like, you know, pure heavenly light, but it's going to be a lot less of the darkness. And
Mm-hmm.
that means roles are going to be switched out with who's leading the world, and the way that infrastructures are ran, the way that the medical industry is, the way that food is, the way that people consciously think about themselves and others, the way we interact with each other, the way that money is, stuff like that.
Education, even the way we use technology.
Yeah,
We will be our own technology. The way we send a text message now is the way we're going to be sending text messages to each other telepathically.
yeah,
It's just a an example of what it could be for us.
yeah. And like example for the medical industry is even Trump started to roll out these technologies, UV light treatment therapy,
Right.
um, using sound healing vibrations.
Crystal
Now,
healing.
these things are all present now,
They are.
but it's not really popular and mainstream.
That's
So as we continue moving, it's going to start expanding, and it's going to become the main source and way for us to heal,
that's
is
right.
using these holistic and natural ways.
Absolutely. And that's why it's important to pay attention to those things. And what are you taking in? What are you listening to? What kind of music you're listening to? What kind of, are you inside a house or an office all day with fluorescent light? And what's even worse than fluorescent light? Now they have this other, even very low vibrational, which actually ruins your eyes and actually blocks your pineal gland. I forget what it's called, but fluorescent light is almost as bad. Is it iridescent? No, I forget what it's called. I tend to block.
Iridescent is definitely one.
Yeah, it's one of them. And then there's another one that's like, I forget what it's called, but I'm sure the audience knows about it. But these are things that we kind of fall into the traps of that.
Hmm.
Um, Even just using electricity,
Yeah.
it does lower vibration. And people, well, how are we supposed to live?
Well, that's the thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
There's different forms that we can make electricity.
Yes.
There's a quantum,
Yes.
organic way that we can use the energy from the earth as electricity. And then there's the artificial way.
Right.
And the artificial way is what we've been given.
Right. And I think Tesla was onto that. He was onto this quantum electricity. And I think at some point he worked with, I saw the documentary. I forget who he worked. There's two, Edison, and then there's the other one. I forget his name.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very bad with names because to me they're just labels, right? I see his face, I know his vibration, but names. So
Yes.
anyway, Tesla is he's working for the man, but he has all these brilliant ideas that were never pushed upon humanity.
Hmm.
So I think that we're definitely going to see that in the near future, a free energy planet. It's going to happen slowly, but it's going to happen for sure.
Yeah. And a fun fact is that Donald Trump's uncle, his name is John Trump,
Hmm.
he was an engineer and a few other things. He was the first person to get Nikola Tesla's files after he passed away.
Oh wow!
So,
What was his name?
John Trump,
John Trump, like his brother.
his uncle, yeah.
But his brother
Wait,
was also
brother?
was it?
Okay.
I'm he's probably named after him. Interesting.
Yeah.
And so, what do you think from an intuitive level, from an intuitive place? What do you think is going to happen with those files?
I believe those files are going to start being implemented into our system.
Mm,
And I believe that those files are also going to start being released to the public as well.
mm.
Uh,
I have the same feeling.
there's been like glimpses of it already starting to roll out. And there's basically like documentary videos that go in depth explaining some of the technology that uh, the Trump family do have their hands on, such as the Looking Glass. And uh, the Looking Glass is a quantum level technology machine
Hmm.
that allows you to basically place your consciousness in through the Looking Glass to see future probabilities of timelines.
Yeah,
So, I mean, from there,
amazing. I
yeah.
have a feeling that our government already has these technologies
Mhm.
borrowed from extraterrestrial beings,
Oh, yeah.
and they use it not for the good, right?
Yeah.
So they're trying to play God. I mean, our government definitely has, they have all kinds, CIA, they have all kinds of people working for them that are, super psychic and, all the levels of, different light workers, if you will.
Yeah, and then they, MK Ultra them and use them.
And zap them away. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so what I've picked up on intuitively about, just what's going on is that there's like, there is the parallel of, you got the dark forces, then you have the light forces, and the dark forces are using this technology for their own self-righteousness. And then what we're experiencing now is light forces stepping up and stepping into positions that also have these technologies that are using it for the purpose of all of us.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't really want to get too much deeper into that stuff because then
Yeah.
it
I
gets
know.
a
It
little
gets
bit
hot.
political.
Yeah. No, I understand. Well, I think I want to hear like one last thing from you. Like, what do you think is like what is the takeaway here? What do you want to leave people with? I know you started with this beautiful message, but I think you should end it with this beautiful message, a beautiful message. Or not,
Absolutely.
up to you.
Yeah, so I mean the biggest thing that I'd like to just to relay to everybody is being aware of ourselves. Um, being aware of our health,
Hmm.
uh, being aware of where our consciousness is and where we're placing our energy and focus. Uh, and I'd just like to ask everybody to take time to reflect, step back, and see where they are in their life. see what helps them stay happy,
Mm-hmm.
what is keeping them from being happy, um, and to be open-hearted, open-minded,
Yes.
less judgment, less hate, and less absorbing other people's hate to hate others that we don't even know or haven't even met.
Yes.
Um, and the more that we keep ourselves healthy and the more that we take care of ourselves, the better reality and the better life we're going to experience. And part of being open is if you don't know where to start or you don't know how to do these things, to ask people like myself or Valeria, um, and using resources. We have basically almost anything we can think of
Yeah.
right there on Google and YouTube. So yeah, overall, I just ask people to be aware of themselves and where they are consciously, and to take care of our health. And from there, I feel like when we focus on those things and keep those things to par, what we project and what we experience just unravels from that. And it really doesn't take too much effort in having a good life.
Thank you. Much resonance. Such a young man, but an old soul.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank
I'd definitely love to do this again.
Sure, yeah, we will. We will.
Um,
Thank you so much always for making yourself available and sharing your gifts.
Thank you. I mean, it's definitely my honor, and thank you too as well for making yourself available. I mean, I see the things that you're doing, and it's quite amazing. It's very inspirational, and you really you've lit many fires inside myself to continue doing what I'm doing and continue being my best self and help people heal. Not me heal them, but help them heal themselves, because we can only heal ourselves.
That's right.
And it's just so beautiful and amazing to see what you've done, not just in the country, but around the world, in
Thank you.
places like Japan.